The pictures from the lower 9th Ward in New Orleans are unforgettable.
You have any ailments, broken bones? No.
People stranded on roofs screaming for help, and helicopters overhead plucking the fortunate ones to safety. Robert Green and his family were some of those people, but they weren't all fortunate.
My granddaughter Shanae, who was 3 years old, she died first in the 25 feet of water when she was washed away. My mother Joyce was 73, and she actually drowned. We resuscitated her when our house floated, broke up. She was in the water, so we were able to resuscitate her, bring her onto the roof of the house that we actually survived on, and at the end of the storm, she died.
Green didn't return to his home for 4 months. When he did, he found his mom's body right where he left it. From that moment, the experience, the aftermath, the struggle to return consumed Green. He never set out to become a community activist. Katrina forced the position on him.
I didn't want to live down here by myself, so I did everything I could to make sure my neighbors came back.
Green was able to return with the help of this guy. Yes, that's Brad Pitt. Green lives in a Make It Right house, a program put together by Pitt to build 150 homes in the lower 9th. The funky houses are the biggest commitment made to the recovery of the community. Green worked with Make It Right and other organizations with one goal in mind: to bring people back.
So we're actually a community that feeds the economy of this culture and feeds the economy of this city. So we need to be here just like everybody else is.
Green says residents here feel left behind by the government. At one point, urban planners for the city of New Orleans marked the lower 9th for green space and limited rebuilding. Green says the lower 9th has the right to recover like any other community after a disaster.
Look at the fires that ravage California every year. Look at the tornadoes that go to Tornado Alley every year. Look at the drought that's happening in every other place. So there's no difference with us. Only the simple fact of the matter is our color might have made people feel like we were a recipient neighborhood, but we were a very contributing part of this economy, of this culture, of the growth of this city, and we still are.
10 years later, with 3/4 of the people still gone, Green knows not everyone will come back, but he's optimistic the spirit of the community will eventually bring new people in.
We can preserve the community, and it's not going to change because anybody who wants to come here, we welcome. So if you welcome people, they want to be here, it's going to stay the same because they're going to enjoy those same values we have.
And Green, a survivor, an activist, a promoter of a community he won't let go, will be here to welcome them. In the lower 9th Ward of New Orleans, Matt Barentine, Fox 10 News.
Katrina left its biggest mark in New Orleans. There were more than 50 levee breaches. That left 80% of the city underwater. Survivors waited on the rooftops for rescue by the Coast Guard. But many people never made it to higher ground. Katrina killed more than 1,500 people in Louisiana. It was the storm that New Orleans had feared for generations.
Dauphin Island was literally cut in two by Katrina. A 15-foot storm surge washed over the west end of the island, destroying 300 homes and separating the island in two.
Houses, the whole island actually shifted to the north, several hundred feet, if not several hundred yards. And so that changed the whole dynamic, the whole landscape on the island.
That shift meant many homes could not be rebuilt. Their lots are underwater. Other homes cling to the edge, with the surf lapping just feet away. Since Katrina, desperate times have called for desperate measures. Some property owners have even built seawalls to keep out the relentless Gulf. Mayor Jeff Collier says between Katrina and the oil spill, times were tough for a while, but recently the island has been rebounding, and a third of the homes have been rebuilt.
But Dauphin Island is a resilient place. You know, we're a resilient community, and you know, the last couple of years have been fantastic.
Katrina come in and it demolished us.
Katrina also devastated many businesses. Donald Rhodes lost his restaurant to the storm. He's rebuilt, but given up on the restaurant business and now runs an RV park.
So we decided just to open a little campground and working with the town, and they work with me on it, and a little store, and it's been doing real well.
Across the Sound in Bayou La Battery, the seafood industry was hammered by Katrina. Boats were in trees and livelihoods were upended. But folks like Tommy Kane, owner of Waterfront Seafood, set to work.
Totally rewire our place, totally put all new refrigerator, everything new, just about like having a new plant.
Kane says the bayou has weathered the storm and his business is even expanding.
We've had the oil spill, all that kind of stuff, but still we just keep on pushing on, and we doing pretty good.
In coastal Mobile County, Matt Barentine, Fox 10 News.
Well, this site is all too familiar. Hurricane Katrina, which hit 10 years ago on the Gulf Coast, right on the Louisiana and Mississippi state line on a Monday night. Notice the cone of uncertainty in this graphic. To the west, it extends all the way to almost the Texas border. To the east, almost to the Georgia border. Now, if Katrina was coming today, this is a look at what the track would represent. We would still see landfall on the Louisiana-Mississippi state line, but that cone of uncertainty is a lot smaller. It only extends to the west around central Louisiana, to the east right on the Alabama and Florida border from Baldwin County to Escambia County. The reason why it's smaller is because computer model technology has gotten so much better. Now, whenever we track tropical storms or hurricanes, you've probably seen these before. We call these spaghetti plots, but each one represents an individual computer model. You have the UKM, you have the BAMD, you have the BAMS, the GFDL, the CMC. They all have perks and they all have disadvantages as well. But a brand new computer model that's going to be starting this season is called the HWRF.
HWRF, HWRF, that's capable of making better use of our aircraft reconnaissance data. We are really excited to see how this new model will help us and help you prepare for and respond to hurricanes. It has really sharpened the accuracy of track forecasts, and particularly when we've done the testing on it, it has shown a 5% improvement in intensity forecasts, which has been the real tough nut to crack with hurricane forecasting for quite some time.
With the new computer model technology we're able to put out in our storm tracker system combined with the new HWRF model, we're going to be able to stay committed to you throughout this entire 2015 hurricane season with more accuracy than ever before.
These are the faces of recovery.
My name is Jana Jessen, and I'm from Long Beach, California.
My name is Paul Podolz from Wisconsin.
Ashley Dickinson, St. Louis.
Maggie Mayer, Seattle, Washington.
Robert DeBlanc from Bay St. Louis.
The helping hands that have rebuilt lives.
Will Kopang, Plymouth, Massachusetts.
Ashley McCain, Cincinnati, Ohio.
The people who have become members of a community far from home.
Thomas Ventura from Aberdeen, Maryland.
Chuck Chiwende from Jackson, Mississippi.
Sietra Hudson, New York.
They keep coming back to help, and so we wanted to recognize that.
After Katrina, Wendy McDonald came back to her hometown of Bay St. Louis to run the local Habitat for Humanity office. Over the years, thousands of volunteers have lent their time to help put this community back on its feet, and their help has been desperately needed.
Katrina, the economy, the housing crisis, the oil spill. So the need here was to have some hope that this would come back like all of us that grew up here remember it being.
Of course, they're recognizing their volunteers by building a house for a mom and her children to call home.
It's the Katrina Anniversary House, but it's also a reunion of all the past volunteers that were invited to come back and help us put this house together for this really wonderful family.
Some of the volunteers won't have to travel far for the reunion. In fact, there are quite a few who came to the coast and stayed.
Packed up my apartment, went to my best friend's wedding, and then I was here.
And 9 years later, a native of North Dakota, Holly Ladner is still here and working for Habitat.
The community was very welcoming, very artsy and fun, and just a nice laid-back little sleepy beach community that I loved. I just fell in love with it.
Ashley Dickinson volunteered a few years ago, went back home to Missouri, and then returned.
Everybody thought I was crazy for leaving, going on my own again, but in the end I called my mom like 4 months ago and said, Mom, I'm staying down here. A week ago she called me and said, hey, I'm moving down too.
It's created opportunities all over the country for people to give back, and I think it's created a culture, probably since 9/11, for people to volunteer at astronomical numbers, and so I think the whole thing's pretty astonishing.
And vital to the recovery of the Mississippi coast. In Bay St. Louis for Fox 10 News, I'm meteorologist Chastity Bird.
The lady next door over here, Miss Amina, she's deceased. The man across here, Reverend Sutton, he's deceased. Miss Ethel is dead. Miss Elsie and Mr. Jesse is dead.
In many spots, 10 years after Katrina, the lower 9th Ward of New Orleans is now a vacant ghost town. But it wasn't always this way. Errol Joseph remembers growing up on a block filled with relatives who had managed to obtain their piece of the American dream.
When this first came to be developed in the 40s, my grandfather got everybody together and they put their pennies together and bought property.
After 10 years of red tape, frustration, and struggles, Errol and his wife Ethel will soon be back in a nearly deserted block that is still home.
This is my home. You know, where I live is my house. This is home.
Joseph could fill volumes with stories of bureaucratic inefficiency and the long road to rebuild, but that's not what he focuses on.
I look forward to being here. Not because it's my house, because I'm teaching these kids.
Those are the young volunteers from all over the world. The current crew is from France and South Korea. Joseph says they come in completely out of their element, but end up learning a lot about life.
And I tell all these kids, this is your house, do whatever you want. Do what you want, the way you want it, the way you want your house, this is yours.
Every day, you know, we have the privilege of serving and working with people like Errol and like Esther. We're just trying to get back in their homes. We're able to make that dream a reality for them. It's incredibly rewarding.
Laura Paul runs lower9.org. Their volunteers have built 75 homes in the lower 9th.
Our organization will keep working, doing the same kind of work it's doing now, as long as our phone keeps ringing from people saying they want to return to their homes.